Oh look, it's Prime Universe Bulkhead. And yes, as you might expect, we are taking a look at him today. This, however, is not the Bulkhead we are focusing on, but rather this little guy. This is the Cyberverse Commander version of Prime Universe Bulkhead, and he is just a little fella, and I adore him. It's yeah, this is a figure that what can I say? I've been watching a lot of Dr. Lockdown lately, and he does a lot of Legends stuff, and this is roughly Legends/Legion scale, and I just thought he was neat, so I got him. And I thought he'd go really well with this guy. Incidentally, this is not I've mentioned this previously, very briefly, but this is not the Prime Universe First Edition Bulkhead that I originally had. That was the official figure, and I forget which one, but one of these windows didn't have the dark green paint on it, which was super cool. But this is the APC Toys knockoff with Reaper labels, which is why you've got some added color here and there, and built-in windows and all that stuff going around. And yeah, cool figure. I love this figure, and this particular version I feel may actually have some slight engineering improvements over the original. Like I don't know if I was just doing stuff wrong and didn't realize it, but this guy holds together better in robot mode. Not that the other one was bad, but like there are certain things just peg in more solidly. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this, the tiny Cyberverse Commander Bulkhead. This guy, I got him secondhand, and he didn't come with his weapon, which it doesn't bother me at all. I feel like, Bulkhead's enough of a bruiser. He really doesn't need one, even though, even the first edition one does come with the Wrecking Ball. And incidentally, the APC Toys knockoff also includes the like a knockoff of the upgrade kit that was included like a hammer that could become gun hands, as well as a rear bumper attachment to kind of flesh things out a bit more. But point is, Bulkhead can just kind of wreck stuff with his bare hands. He doesn't need a weapon, so I'm not bothered by this guy not having a weapon, including the fact that this guy's weapon is like translucent blue plastic, so I don't really... Yeah. But it's a pretty decent likeness of Bulkhead's Prime vehicle mode, with some obvious concessions being made because of the scale. Like the front is definitely a little bit too dense and bulky, and there is some paint that it could do with, like the windows, the side windows here being just solid green is kind of disappointing. But they did paint the rear taillights. The front section, you've got some nice separation with the bumper and the grille and headlight area, but like it's very one color with like this kind of gunmetal-y color for the bumper and then the silver up there. Whereas if you look at the first edition, you've got a bit more color breakup going on. Like ignore the blue for the headlights, that's Reaper labels. But looking at the rest of this, like just this, these added bits here, it breaks it up a little bit more. Also, for some reason, they've got this translucent blue in the roof and also hood. I don't know. But still looks good. I do like they painted the windshield in that gunmetal-y color, and also the front side windows. And the molding's pretty nice too. You've got approximations of the little roll bar, or whatever it is, up top here. You've got the dual gas caps on either side, like you have on the first edition. Those may not be gas caps, I don't know. The wheels decently textured, and underneath you've got robot arms and all that. But yeah, it's cool for what it is. It's a nice, compact little truck thing that's maybe not as mind-blowingly engineered as this guy, but this actually does some cool stuff with its transformation, and also it does roll because it's like a little Hot Wheels car thing. But size-wise, it is a commander class, so that means it's a bit on the small side. We bring in Artfire. Oh yeah, we're going to need to raise this up. Bring in Artfire, then Rotor Storm, then Overprime, and Samus. You can see that he's kind of small, which is his whole deal. That was the whole point of this Cyberverse Commander line, which, yes, as Stu has pointed out, not confusing calling it Cyberverse, but there we go. And also Hasbro reusing Commander. It's just like, oh boy. And then here he is with a deluxe. So yeah, kind of small. Despite being Bulkhead, he is on the diminutive side. And then, of course, we can't finish this up without the most important size comparison. I lied. We're not doing this one yet. We got to actually do this one first. I am not with it today. But yes, here he is with what amounts to the first edition. Was this considered Voyager back in the day? I think it was Bulkhead. And yeah, it's quite the size difference, as I would hope there would be. Anyway, lastly, of course, the most important of size comparisons, here he is with the Duck Tank. Now, before we turn this little car into a little robot man, I just want to let everyone know that if you like this video or any of the videos that I've done on the channel and you want to monetarily support things, I do have a Patreon. There's going to be a link at the end of the video, but also there is a link down in the description for that. I only have a single $1 tier available. That's all I plan on doing, but that $1 a month gets you early access to new videos, in addition to access to the occasional exclusive Patreon exclusive video. I've only done one so far, but like every now and then I'll probably do some more. So you can always support the channel that way, or if you'd rather support the channel without spending any money, which I completely get, you could always do the typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, subscribe, and so on. Now to transform Tiny Bulkhead. First thing we're going to do is get these legs out from under the hood. They tab in just underneath there. Want to untab them and bring them down, like so. Then you can fold the feet forward. They just rotate forward like that. So rotate the feet. And now this, and oh, actually, you want to take the hood and pop that down. This does actually kind of click in slightly, but you want to pop that down like so. And that will allow you to hinge this forward. And as you hinge this forward, this little peg will peg in there. But I believe, oh no, we'll still have clearance. Okay, so bring this forward and peg that in. There is pretty much the entire body section done. Now, going to untab these little wheel armatures from the sides of the forearms. There's these little button tabs here that peg in here. They're not like super solidly pegged in, but they're pegged in enough to keep the wheels from moving around. So do that. Bring the arms out. Now, going to take this section back here. It's actually, with these arms out of the way, you just bend that down. But like, bend that down, take these flaps, and this one on each side. You just fold them back like that. Now we can split the arms and bring this hinge down. Bring the arm down, like so. I'm going to either keep the wheels down like this or angle them up. I prefer to keep them down, both because it's different than where they end up in robot mode, and I feel like, or in vehicle mode, and I also feel like this is more accurate to where they sit normally. So with that done, last thing you want to do is bring these bits, shoulder sections, down, and then the actual shoulder pads are separate, and they kind of click into place. So when you bring these down, it does require a little bit of force to get that arm lined up, but it's not too bad. And that's it. There we have Tiny Bulkhead in his robot mode, and he's just adorable. I mean, he's adorable even when he's a big hulking guy, really. But yeah, this is a really nifty figure. The proportions are a bit thrown off. Like, mainly, more than anything, the arms sit a little far out from the torso. But, you know, given the size and everything, it's fine. It's not really a problem. It's just something that is noticeable. But he's cool. He definitely looks like Bulkhead. He's got, pretty clean all the way around. It's just this big void in his torso here, which is unfortunate. But again, like size, class, I get it. Yeah, the transformation does a lot with not much, which is pretty cool. I like how the hood comes up and reshapes the chest. And it's not perfect to the animation, but it's, again, for the size, for the, complexity and stuff, it does a really good job. There's also some really nice color separation here. I like that the feet are this kind of grayish, brownish color along with the waist section. The fists are a similar color, but they're actually, I believe they're painted. Hard to say for sure, but I'm pretty sure they're painted. Then you've got the gray for the biceps, and yeah, it's a lot of nice color separation. It is not as complex as the full-size figure, obviously, but again, it looks good. I also really like these little flaps here. Like, yeah, they're not accurate, and if those had, could somehow hinge down here to cover up this gap in the back, I think it'd be a lot cleaner of a figure, but I do actually kind of like how these reshape the shoulders, give them these little, shoulder spikes. Even if it's not accurate, I just think it looks neat. And yeah, he is cool. The legs are oddly complicated to get him standing up straight. Like, you can kind of see, get this out of the way, how if you straighten the legs out, that, it doesn't quite sit the way you think it's supposed to sit. So, when you straighten the legs out, he is stable, but it makes it look like his knees are bending backwards. They're not, it just kind of looks that way, but it's weird. And the knees can bend, like that for the transformation, but it's just it takes some getting used to, let's say. But, once you get used to it, he's pretty cool, pretty clean. He's got some, like I said, nice color separation. You don't really get any new paint in robot mode aside from the fists and the head, but I think that works just fine, especially again considering the size and complexity. I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot, but he is neat. He is a fun little toy, and there is some nice detailing here. You can see that they did the they molded the tires on the insides of the legs, which is cool. He's got his molded kneecaps, though they're, the coloring again is kind of different because of the complexity of the toy, but still, you've got the, molded in the waist section. You've got the hood is just the hood, but as I said, kind of gets the job done. They did the back of the car really nicely. I like the added detail on the bicep there. The forearms have some nice molding to them, and they have that very close to, it's a little flat because of the transformation, but it is very close to the actual forearm shape that you'd expect. It's cool. A little waffled on the back, including the back of the head, but it's the back. This is it's the back. Who cares? Obviously someone's gonna care, but I don't. Now, the head is very, very Bulkhead. I don't know what else to say. It's kind of perfect for Bulkhead. Really, aside from just missing maybe a little bit of paint and that little very tiny head crest, I can't really say that it's any, it doesn't really suffer at all for the size compared to the, the bigger figure. In fact, I think it's a little bit more accurate because it's got that little collar around the neck. So, there is that. Now, the molding is also good, and of course you got the silver face, big silver jaw, and blue eyes, but it's a little bit in that crest. But again, it's not that bad. Now, the articulation is actually kind of surprising. The head does rotate. It's on bit of a swivel. It's not like you can't go too far because the base of the neck, the way it swings around, and also because of the chin, like that's as far as you're going to go. But that's pretty expressive considering the fact that this is a tiny figure. So I'm into that. Zoom out here a little bit. The shoulders are on they're, I want to say, yeah. Okay, the shoulders are on ball joints, so you can get some like butterfly motion a little bit. They can rotate around, though this does kind of clash with the strut on the back here if you go back too far, but it can get past, as you saw. They can go out this far, or if you don't mind clicking that joint, they can go out that far, and then you can also use the transformation joints to go up, but it gets loose once you go past the transformation kind of robot mode orientation. So generally, you're only going to get like maybe that far out unless you start de-transforming things. You have a ball-jointed elbow, which does give you a proper bicep swivel, and then the arms can actually bend up more than 90 degrees, which is cool. You do not have a waist swivel, which I feel like one maybe could have fit down here, but with all the jointage and stuff going on up here, I'm not surprised that they didn't do it. Oh, also, if you want, you can move these up and down. They have kind of like a car mode, and they've got 3 different spots you can sit them in. But anyway, no waist swivel. That's a shame. The hips are on ball joints, so they can go forward to there. So not quite 90. They can go back to 90. They can go out to 90, and then you can use that ball joint for a little bit of a thigh rotation. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And again, size-wise, it's fine. The knees can bend forward almost 90 degrees, but they can also bend back less than 90, but still not terrible. And then the feet, if you really wanted to, you can de-transform them and use them as like a toe point kind of thing, but then that knee pad moves along with it, so probably not the best idea. But still, for what he is, he's actually pretty cool, pretty expressive. I like this little guy. And like I said, he's fun to mess with. The transformation is simple, but really effective and actually really clever for, again, what it is. And I like it. And of course, as already established, he's a Cyberverse commander, which means he is small. He is a small boy. He's a very, very small boy. Not world's smallest small, but he is on the short side. Here. So you can see he is actually, if the stand weren't there, in here, if the stand weren't there, I feel like he'd be pretty much the same height, if not maybe a little taller than Samus there. But yeah, he's, as I've said many times, Cyberverse commander, so he is small, but in my mind, that just makes him more impressive. The fact they were able to pull all this off with that size. Now, for the, I guess let's call it the unfair comparison. Here he is with what amounts to first edition Bulkhead. And yeah, I mean, I do think that, oh, hang on a sec. There we go. Okay. Just had the chest windows slightly done ever so slightly wrong. But yeah, there is what amounts to first edition Bulkhead, and it's, as I said, it's an unfair comparison. Not the least of which because this guy has Repro labels on him, so he's got a little bit more in terms of detailing and whatnot. But like, he's significantly bigger, and has a lot more engineering complexity to him. So, yeah. That's kind of as you'd expect. But, like, you know, you can see if we're looking at the APC Toys / first edition, there we go. These little forearm panels are a little sticky. If we're looking at this as like the be-all, end-all in show accuracy, like, yes, the Cyberverse Commander does not hit the mark in every regard, but it's very clearly this guy is this guy. And it hits all the notes that you kind of need. Like, the hood chest is not exactly right, but it's still obviously him. The big, chunky half wheels and, you know, big feet are there. Forearms are pretty much spot on, except, again, as I said, like the flatness. And, of course, the shoulder rear car thingies are... Oh, this came undone. There we go. The rear car bits for the shoulders are also, you know, doing their job. It's just... It is not a fair comparison, but I'm making it anyway just to show you all. But, like, I think, again, considering the fact that, like, this guy probably has more parts in his arms than this entire figure put together is, I think that says something for how well this came out. Anyway, let's get this out. I still love this guy, though. And the repro labels really, so good. Anyway, for one final size comparison, got to do the big fancy one, the most important one. Here is Cyberverse Commander Bulkhead with the duck tank. And that does it for Transformers Prime Cyberverse Commander Bulkhead. I kind of said everything I can about this guy. He's cool for what he is. It's absolutely, if you want a Prime Bulkhead and you want what at least I would consider the best one, you want the first edition. You know, this doesn't hold a candle to that, obviously. But in the context of the kind of toy it is and what it's meant to be doing, it is really fun. He's fun to transform, fun to mess with. He's shockingly posable for, you know, the size and complexity. There's that phrase again. And I really like him. He really evokes the character. And yes, he's definitely got more than a few shortcomings. But that's kind of just due to the nature of his design. So again, like, considering all the constraints that were placed on this figure from the start, I think he's spectacular. So that'll do it. Thank you all so very much for watching. As always, feel free to let me know what you think of this figure or other Bulkheads, whether it's the first edition or the knockoff of the first edition or the RID version or whatever. Let me know down in the description, down in the comments. Can you tell I haven't recorded for a while? But yes, thank you again for watching, and next time we're going to look at some more transforming robots. How about it?